Being a digital nomad can seem like a dream, right? You can choose your work hours, you can live wherever you want in the world, and you can travel constantly. Isn't that the dream that many people are searching for? Together with my husband, had the opportunity to visit different places, live in different places as well, and we were really struggling with the idea of settling down until a few months ago. If you've been following my channel, you know that we were traveling around Colombia and Ecuador. Until very recently, we decided to stop and settle down here in Mexico, the country where I am from. What happened? Stay with me until the end of this video so I can show you my perspective. 2 months ago, we came to Mexico to a friend's wedding. We always knew that we needed to come back around this time, but our plan was to keep traveling around South America. And all of a sudden, we decided to buy furniture for a house that we had rented unfurnished. Something significantly occurred when we finally decided to buy our own furniture after not having any of it for 4 years. And we've been married about 5 years. It seems that something truly changed our mindset. In 2019, I decided to leave my job office and I decided to embark on an adventure with my husband, Dave. At that time, I was hungry for the almost elusive idea of being a digital nomad, although I didn't know what that means really. As I mentioned earlier, we embarked on this adventure of start traveling when my husband suggested that we can go to Asia so he can work as a teacher, as an English teacher, because the companies in Asia would pay more for his skills. If you know me, you know that I'm very curious about the world and anything, so of course that was a perfect idea for me as well. So we started to look for options. Well, he started to look for options and he saw a company in China. China was an attractive place for qualified English teachers. When we said yes, we sold our furniture we had bought when we recently married and we've been living here in Querétaro, Mexico for a year, quit our jobs, and we bought tickets to go to the UK, where my mother-in-law lives. The idea was to spend some time with her before going to this adventure in Asia. It seems that China wasn't for us because just a few days earlier from our departure here in Mexico to go to the UK, Dave received an email from the company in China saying that they had only granted permission for Dave's visa and that I could join later when they had everything sorted. We didn't know when. That wasn't great news for us. It didn't seem like a good idea to do that at that time for us. So we decided to cancel our plan to go to China. So we went to the UK, and without having any idea of what we should do next, we decided to stick to our plans, which were pretty much non-existent at that time. But of course, my husband started looking for a job and he found one in Vietnam. So we ended up in Vietnam and lived there for about 2 years. It's worth mentioning that our plan was that Dave was going to be the only one who was going to be working while we were in Asia. At that time, it wasn't common, at least for me, to hear that it was easy to work online or to find a job online. But I had this idea of having my own income working from wherever I wanted. So I started to make videos on YouTube around that time, even earlier, I think, when I was in Mexico. During our time in Vietnam, I started working on iTurkey. It seems like an advertisement, but no, it's not. It's part of my story. iTurkey is a platform where you can talk to people from different countries to practice a language. You can also become a professional teacher to teach in that platform. So I started to teach, well, to talk to people from everywhere in the world. At that time, it wasn't that popular as it is today. And I started to do well. I started to get more students and more students until I had a real salary. My husband saw this and he expressed his desire to do the same. By to doing the same, I mean to pursue his dreams, to pursue his dreams, to follow his dreams. Before we continue, I have a special announcement to make. Just stay with me for a minute. After that experience that I had, I decided to open my own business, and now I have a website where I teach Spanish, but in the way that I would have wanted to be taught. I'm not one of those people who like learning languages. I learned English because of the necessity that I had at the time, and I learned it in the way that I want to teach you in this Spanish Academy. It's very interactive, it's very conversational, and you can join no matter your level. Also, if you have some level of Spanish, let's say intermediate level, you can join me to converse every Sunday at 11 a.m. in Mexico City time in the morning to talk about different topics in Spanish, to talk about you, your experiences, and also culture in Mexico. I'm pretty sure you're going to love these conversational classes. If you want more information, check out our website that my sister and I proudly built, thrivingspanish.com. Now let's go back to the main topic. Despite of our nice stay in Vietnam, we didn't want to live there permanently. As I said, Dave started to learning how to code while he was teaching English on this platform italki, to get an income while he was getting ready for what he really wanted. So we said, what about if we traveled around Southeast Asia? We were super excited. So again, it's worth saying that Dave quit his job there in Vietnam because we were about to leave Vietnam, and then the pandemic hit. This is the way of how we were hit. But still, we said, okay, let's enjoy Vietnam. So we moved to Da Nang, a beautiful beach city. But we didn't know that we were going to end up in lockdown for a long time. That can be another story that I think is interesting to tell. But to make the long story short, I just want to say that we live in Vietnam and we went to the UK. We had a great time there with my mother-in-law, and then we decided to come back to Mexico again, to Querétaro. But from there, we wanted to keep traveling. It wasn't the moment to travel, so we decided to rent a house here in Querétaro, but we didn't buy any furniture, we didn't buy too many clothes. We always had in our mind that we wanted to keep traveling. And we did. We lived in that house in Querétaro for almost 2 years, but we also traveled around Mexico in that time. I made videos about the places that I visited. You can check them out here in my channel to see if you're interested in Mexico. You've also seen how uncertain we were when we initially considered buying a house in early 2022. In the end, it didn't happen due to external factors unrelated to this topic, but the truth is that we didn't care too much because our minds were elsewhere. After not buying the house, we went to Colombia for 2 months on holidays, and we loved it. It reignited our desire to keep traveling. Very muggy. At the end of 2022, I announced that we were going to start traveling again in 2023, this year. Our first stop was Colombia. We stayed in Colombia for 3 months, and I even made videos here on my channel saying how happy we were with our decision. I even said that we didn't know when our travels were going to end. We went to Ecuador and had a great time as well. The funny thing is that it's been 7 months now. We're back in Querétaro and we don't have any plans to keep traveling as digital nomads. Our time in Colombia and Ecuador showed us the both sides of the coin. Being a digital nomad is a lifestyle, as well as having a more settled down lifestyle is. Both have their pros and their cons. What I enjoyed about being a digital nomad was I could see amazing places, I could meet amazing people, as well as make friends. I think this is my favorite part. Not only that, but we could live in comfortable places with affordable prices. For example, in Colombia, we found an apartment for less than $400. The apartment had 3 rooms, almost 3 rooms, a very beautiful balcony. It was a big apartment in a great place with an amazing view. You don't see that in Mexico these days. However, when we travel far, communication suffers with the family, your closest friends, and that was a part that I wasn't enjoying too much. Having all my belongings in a backpack and not having material possessions to worry about was a great feeling. If we wanted to stay in a place, we just did it. We didn't have the feeling that we needed to come back home. However, the truth is that we started to miss our own bed, and we kind of miss the feeling of coming back to our home. Although we could work from anywhere, not all the times we were working in suitable conditions. Sometimes the tables were very small in the apartment. Sometimes we needed to go to a coffee shop with too much noise. And I'm always looking for the perfect conditions for my classes, which I did, but it was another thing to think about. Also, I knew that it was affecting my body, well, mostly my back, because sometimes the chairs weren't good either. It's very clear for me, and I understand that we didn't travel as extensively compared to other people, but still, in our minds, apart from the job that we already had, we needed to plan for the trips. Where do we wanted to go? Budgeting for that, buying the plane tickets. It was just another thing to adding up to our lifestyle. Maintaining a routine and a healthy diet was also challenging. Although we had the ability to decide and plan our routines and eating habits, sometimes we got tired of doing so and didn't fully commit to them. This made me realize the value of having a routine, which I was missing. When we traveled to Ecuador from Colombia, we did it by bus. It was a very incredible experience because we had the opportunity to visit different places on our way to Ecuador, an authentic and unique experience that I won't forget all my life for sure. But also it was a very, very exhausting experience. I didn't even imagine how exhausted I was going to be, that after arriving to Ecuador, the only thing that we wanted to do for many days was to rest comfortably at home. And when we arrived in Ecuador, we got the surprise that our Airbnb wasn't as we expected it. I mentioned this in another video. It was in a very dark place. It was in a garage, in a parking lot. It didn't have natural light. It wasn't a good experience. And we were exhausted, so that wasn't a good combination. But in our second month in Ecuador, we found a very beautiful apartment in a very nice area in Cuenca. Finally, we are in this new apartment here in Cuenca, which is very, very central, near to the historical center of Cuenca. And it seems that there are very nice places to eat around here, bars, cafes, where it was surrounded by nice bars and restaurants. The apartment was super comfortable. It had everything we needed: a very nice sofa, a very nice bed, a kitchen, and utensils to cook wherever you wanted. We were enjoying a nice date in the afternoon and then coming back home to watch a movie, to enjoy a series. We really enjoy our time together as a couple doing that. All of a sudden, we started discussing how our ideal home would be. We started to think of furniture, the idea of having friends over to our home, having our own office to work, having a nice kitchen, and that was getting us excited. Just doing normal things. There you are. This is how we ended up having a very sedentary lifestyle. That's what we are enjoying right now, and we're very happy that we decided to do this at this time. What do you think? Is it better to have a sedentary life or being a digital nomad? Let me know in the comments. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I had of being a digital nomad, so I can have an opinion about that, and I have the freedom to choose the lifestyle that I want to live. Currently, it seems that I'm looking for some stability, or we are looking for some stability, but that doesn't mean that our plans are going to remain in the future. It seems our minds change quickly. So who knows? If you think you got something useful out of this video, just let me know in the comments. If you want me to go deep in this topic, also let me know in these videos, because that change of lifestyle is also going to be reflected in my videos probably. See you in the next video.